let's go core technology, right? I mean, Twitter is something that was never invented before. There was SMS, but you couldn't follow my SMS. You couldn't, tweet to 300 million people. Facebook, I think, essentially also. So a lot of technologies that we've seen have been first ever movers. And how did who's the Twitter guy? Square, what's the name? Dorsey, right?
Jack Dorsey.
So how did Jack Dorsey make people tweet? How? I don't know. But something must have happened to make him do that. And that is incredible. Imagine waking up this morning and tomorrow morning I'm saying, hey, I got Twitter. You guys will laugh at what the hell this is. But it's there. So that's interesting. So essentially this is what we do. And there's nothing, the sooner you admit it, the easier it becomes to execute. You're not selling something that has been sold before. And that's the challenge. Right? Okay. So that's the question, right? And I mean the whole challenge is which MBA, which business school, which classroom, which teacher, which parent can tell you this? No one can, because it's never been done before. So the whole question is, where's the science? And there isn't. So these are essentially 7 lessons that I have learned, and I'm going to try and work you through them in real life. I think there's a band of musicians coming back. So sorry, just wait for these guys. Sorry about that, just interrupting the session. Now we're rocking now.
Yeah.
Rocking.
We don't have enough seats, sir.
That's good. That's the whole idea. You're gonna sit on the carpet.
Probably Alok in the meantime.
Sure.
Chess.
Sure.
We already completed 2 Rodinhood meetups.
Really? Yes.
In Coimbatore.
Yes.
The response is pretty
Wow. Super.
awesome.
Very good.
And I've already put a request to you, like next month, probably if time permits, we would like to have you in
Sure.
Coimbatore
So we should
for a
do
mixer.
Got it. We'll fix up what Rodinhood event should be.
Yeah.
And the whole idea, so that I can take a time. I think Deepak, even you wanted to have you had a wish of Rodinhood events in Bangalore. So the whole idea is that it should be so. Hey guys. I think the whole intent is to have it so memorable and so fresh that it's something that people look forward to. We're not competing. So the whole agenda is we're not competing with anybody, and that makes it very unique. I don't want TIE. I don't want any NASCOM, FASCOM. I don't believe in all those buggers. I don't know what the hell they stand for. There's no commercial. Sorry, man. The language is, as we roll, the language is going to get a little more colorful. It takes a lot of me to keep my mouth in control, right? If we've been in the house and we're in Bangalore, if we were in Bombay, it would have been pretty crazy by now. But no.
This is real Mumbai wala.
Yeah. बहुत संभाल रहा हूँ मैं भैया. बहुत संभाल.
Don't come to that.
No. So I
He's
think
controlled himself at tech already.
very much.
I know, but people would love to have the taste of Mumbai
So it's coming.
slang.
And don't worry, so Bangalore crowd is very open crowd.
So I think the challenge is that the session is not about having another get together. The session is to say that we are special, not because we want to be special, because what we do is something unique to people. So we'll talk about it. I think that the guys have said, come in guys, you have to drag some seats and sit on the sofas or whatever.
Hey, there's one seat here.
Over here. Sorry. Still on. Okay, so I think can you just sell yourself is the most important thing. And this is very important, right? I think a lot of entrepreneurs, a lot of newbies, a lot of ideas, a lot of energy comes by yourself. Now, for example, Vasu, let me take an example. Right? Let's take Himanshu as an example. Himanshu says, I am the guy who can teach you Adobe like nobody else can. And people look up to him. They don't care about Adobe, they don't care about what Flash is. In my office, the day this guy came to meet me, 2 of the guys who sit right next to the cabin stood up. And they said, I could see them becoming a little uncomfortable. And I said, why? So I was wondering, we had a session. I think this was our first meeting. I didn't even know you, right? This guy wore a jacket and I don't know what the hell he was doing. Only fools wear jackets in Mumbai at 38 degrees and 99% humidity. But anyway, thankfully he didn't wear it the next time. So when he left and we had a nice formal chat, this 2 guys said, Alok, that was Himanshu of Technopoint. I said, yeah. He says, we're learning Flash in his institution. What is he doing here? Now, he was the guy they referred to. The point I'm making is that if you can become someone's addiction, if you can become someone's reason to do something, this is the beginning of a reason to start yourself. Give you another example. There's a very interesting guy in Delhi called Manish Bij. He runs a company called Quasar. Anybody knows social? You all know Quasar. It's a very large company. This guy in 2004 came on a Rediff, he was the head of sales of Rediff, Delhi, and he understood that media planning on internet was not an easy task. People did not understand it. And it was about to come. You know, I launched Media to Win with KK, and Manish Vich launched Causa. And they actually met together and we said, shall we start a company? And we couldn't come to terms. That is a funny thing. And I regret that because I wish I had come to terms. Manish was bought by WPP after many years. The reason, this Manish guy, what he did in Delhi was very interesting. He knew all the buyers of media because he was a Rediff seller. But he was selling Rediff. And Rediff was, at that time, a premium brand. You could sell Rediff at your terms. What he went to them and told them is that, you know what, you should buy MSN, you should buy Yahoo, and you should buy Rediff, and you should little bit buy India Times. MSN was really, really innovating in terms of product. So they had page peels, they had the shosh peels, and all that kind of crazy stuff happened, right? No one could understand that. This guy became the addiction. He would become people's blue-eyed boy to start doing media planning. So I remember this guy in Samsung who said, Alok, we have bought so-and-so sites. And I looked at the media plan and I said, oh, this is like a really clever media plan. Because he knew things like, I mean, I'm just going to talk a little jargon because people in the room will talk, but he knew frequency capping. He knew, time of day serving. He knew that kind of stuff. So I said, Samsung, man, where the hell did you get all this from? He said, Alok, I told Manish Vich, come to my office, sit on my desk, open my laptop and write my media plan and I will buy it. He became a addiction, right? So I think there's one more. Yeah, one more. Now, when I presented this in Bombay, there was a little bit of uncomfortableness in the room because of the image. There's a dog, kutta. Let me tell you what I did. This is, may not like it, you guys may not like it. In 1998, I started looking at Contest to Win was my company. And I started reading and looking at ads on the internet, on the media, right? Who was selling what? And one company could always stand out, always stand out. That company was Hindustan Lever. At that time, just as a record, Hindustan Lever would spend 1 crore a day in advertising. That time, 365 crores was the ad budget. In my opinion, right now, they would be spending about 5 to 6 crores a day. 2,000 crores would be easily their advertising budget, easily. At that time, 1 crore a day was what we used to call lever. कि भैया 1 करोड़ रुपए दिन का खर्च होता है, औकात है तो लेकर आओ. So every, in Bombay media, we call them butterflies. The most beautiful women in Mumbai work for media and they all sit in Hindustan Lever's office. So if you really are bored one day, you should just go and sit in the Hindustan Lever office. Like, you'll be so delighted and dazed. Your year will be made, right? They're just beautiful creatures. They are beautiful. So they used to go there and I also landed up there. Now no one talked to me. No one looked at me. They said, an ugly Marwadi fellow, what are you doing here, man? So eventually what I began to look at was what was happening. I was trying to talk to people and no one was listening to me. Yeah, they didn't care. So I made a policy. I would actually sit in the Hindustan Lever office on a sofa. And unfortunately that time they were not that strict. They didn't have those ID tags. And there were चर्च गेट में ऑफिस था, खोल कर जाओ यार, बैठ जाओ, कोई पूछता नहीं था, वो चाय भी पिलाता था, वो आकर आपको चाय भी पिलाता था. Culture was like 1990s easy, man. So what began to happen was when I would see brand managers go in and out of rooms of meetings, I would pounce on them. I would say, sir, I'm from Contest to Win and I want to do something for you. And that's how I got Lever, I got Close Up, Liril, Annapurna, and a couple of other guys on board. Literally sitting there. So one day, one guy asked me, he said, why do I see you here every day? Why? Who are you? And I said, I'm the dog in the Hindustan Lever corridor. And then I looked at me and he said, oh, what does that mean? I said, I'm the dog. And I'm here to look at the bones that I may collect when the doors open. And it was a point in my life where I was feeling egoless. So it was so painful to say that. And it was so humiliating in one way. And that night I went for dinner with my wife and it was one of the worst days of my entrepreneurial career and nothing was working. And we ate dinner at the Taj, right? So the point she made was that, Alok, why do you go through this? Why do you call yourself, and it became a phraseology. I think I should not have said it so much, that I'm the dog in the Hindustan. I told people in the interview also, okay, I'm the doggy in the corridor. So she said, I don't like it. It's not nice. And I said, you know what? I'm a dog in the night and I'm a dog in the day and the king in the night. It doesn't matter. So it was funny that I use this metaphor, but I think if you can go down to that level, then I think there's a chance. It's very painful. And God forbid you ever need that, but I've seen people doing all kinds of crazy stuff. And if you see the greatest stories of them all, they all have come through a lot of pain. So, if you have to grovel, so be it. Sure.
So, when you were sitting in the Hindustan Lever office, obviously you did not get to catch hold of any of the managers on the first day, right?
Yes.
It must have taken a while
Absolutely.
before. So, first of all, typically how long was that? Number one. Number two, did you feel that you were wasting your time? You didn't know whether it will ever happen,
Yeah.
right? Did you feel that you were wasting?
Yeah,
How
I
did you
did.
have the patience to sit?
I don't know. I don't know the answer, but I knew that it took me 6 months to get my first deal. It took me 300 to 400 calls, blank calls, to get the first guy to meet me. And let me tell you what was happening, right? 1998, there were no Ask Me and there was no Just Dial. There were big fat directories that MTN used to publish, right? You can remember at home.
Yeah.
3. Bombay, there were 3 volumes. And one year we became 4. And the Shah surname was half a volume. The most number of people in Mumbai are Shah. So big. Out of the so big, the Shah was so much. You can't find a Shah in Bombay through the directory. Impossible. So I'll give you an example of what I was saying, right? The cold calling part, since you asked. I started calling Britannia every day. And the number was a 412 number at that time. About 25 days later or some days later, the guy who used to answer was not very refined. I understood this is not Hindustan, this is not a Britannia number, a guy. There's something wrong. Because you call Colgate, you call Unilever, there's a freshness to the word, there's a style. So he asked me, he said, sir, what do you want? I said, I want to talk to the marketing manager. He said, sir, but Britannia is in Bangalore, they're not in Bombay. It took 20 days to figure that out. So I said, who are you? He said, I am actually the warehouse supervisor. You are calling the warehouse every day and I'm wondering what you do. So I think when you don't have a definition of who you are trying to reach, you are at ground zero anyway. And then nothing matters. You're in the Sahara, who cares if it's a mirage or not? It's something. So to be something is more important than nothing, right? I guess. Can I do it now? I don't think so. There's so much of ego, there's so much of baggage. But at that time, I was nobody.
So you talked about ego the second time. Everybody has an ego. It's not easy to give up ego.
Yes.
And that's the whole point of spirituality, of giving up ego.
Yes.
So when you're in business as a salesman, how much of ego do you carry and how much of ego do you
Carry
give
zero,
up?
man. If you carry any ego, you're dead. And I think the challenge in entrepreneurship is that we agreed in Jan and the paperwork was finalized in March. And because of Indian fiscal year, we had to show the paper, we had to show the money on the 31st of March. Because of, I think, ESOPs and whatever. I think there was a taxation, something. But the papers had to be signed in 4 countries of 4 people. Because Mauritius, US, India, and I think somebody else was in Cayman or somebody. Impossible. So I still remember this day, I think 30th of March or one of these days, we had the $2 million in our bank and we had not signed the papers. So I was shocked and I asked Satish, my CFO, and we found out and Clearstone wrote a mail saying that we'll sign the papers as they come, but we thought we'll send you one. Now that is incredible. No VC sends you 10 crores, 11 crores without a signature. I mean, if I'm a real chore, I don't sign the bloody document anymore, I'm dead. They're dead, they're finished. All of them will be fired because it's not diligence enough. But I think the point I'm making is not about asking for unreasonable favors. The point I'm making is if you get into the trust, if you embed yourself in the trust of somebody, then it becomes a very large business proposition. And people just give you blind faith in doing that. So I think trust become important, great vanity if you have to be able to address an industry, address a nation. When we say games to win, people ask me, who will buy games to win? I look at, say, I'll give you an example, Cartoon Network. Right? They have 0 apps in the market, 0. I don't see a Cartoon Network on the App Store at all. Cartoon Network, man. Now what they're going to say is, I need a guy like Games to Win, who can make all my assets into apps. And if they can make stupid cars and mother's apps and make them brands, what can they do with me? They can make me a whatever. So I become very integral to them because they don't understand the app industry. And every person, I mean, why should Shinchan not have an app? You give me Shinchan, man, I'll really blow him out of proportion. I'll stop people from going to school. You know? So I think the challenge is that you can do something that people don't have, you've become valuable. On this entire